Welcome to This Week in the PNFL. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and along for the ride is Mitch Grawl and Dean Chambers. How we doing tonight, fellas?
Very good.
Feeling good.
All right. So, we're moving right along during our off season. A lot of information came out since the last time we spoke. We're going to go ahead and run through that. Guys have already completed their player cuts. We are going into the physicals, and we're going to talk a little bit about teams that are moving, or have moved from one division to the other, or staying in their same division, but just moving the teams. And, let me see. Did I cover everything or did I miss something? I know I missed something, guys. But we're going to go ahead and,
a lot of chatter on the forum and the WhatsApp. So
yes, a lot of trash talking, especially the day that we are recording this. There was a lot of trash talk out there. So
a lot of chatter going on.
Yes, a whole bunch of it. So if we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. So let's go ahead and talk about the teams that have moved. And I'm going to bring this up real quick. So the teams that have moved over, switch teams during the off season, we have Mitch and KC, moving over to Houston, but they're staying in the same division. Who else is moving here? Detroit's moving over to Philly. It's James. We have Anaheim moving over to Green Bay, and they're staying in the same division as well. We have New Orleans, which is our new coach. He moved his team over to Denver. I do believe that he found some paperwork or some stuff that was left by the Headless Horseman. And Anaheim, which is Nick's team. Sorry, Nick. He's moving over to Green Bay. And our new coach.
And then Minnesota staying in the same city, but moving to the NFC West.
Exactly.
In place of the Saints.
In place of the Saints moving.
The NFC West.
Yep. So
there's only two teams that are trading spots to move to different divisions, but others are just change cities.
Yeah. So we're going to start with this one first. So we're going to start with, I'll start this one off with Mitch. Since your team is one of the teams that are moving, talk about these teams moving. What do you foresee for them or predict for them going into the new season with, moving the ones in the same division and the ones that are moving to different divisions?
Well, I know for me, Houston offered me much higher gate revenue, since I'll be able to own the state. No, I mean, I think I know for me, I just I was thought about doing this last year. Actually, I was going to, and I thought, I don't want to rage quit on Kansas City because I didn't make the playoffs. So I stuck around, wanted to at least get them back into the playoffs and everything. And yeah, moving into Houston to be in the Oilers. I just love those old unis. I have actually an Oilers helmet here. I have in my little display area, and I don't know. Just something about those old Oiler uniforms and everything. Just seeing their helmet logo here on the forum now just kind of gets me excited. So just for fun, just for fun, and I guess childhood memories of these Oiler teams.
Okay, Dean, what do you think? Get your opinion on this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and as interesting as the moves that happened are the ones that didn't happen. There's a lot of chatter and a lot of push because some people wanted the AFC East the NFC East to resemble the real NFC East. There's a lot of chatter about me moving to Dallas. That was never going to happen. There's no way that I'm ever going to work for Jerry Jones. That's just not happening. But there was some chatter about that, and nothing that I ever entertained, but that there were others chattering about that, or maybe just doing a bit of wish casting that they hoped that would happen, but there was never a chance of that. I made it clear that I was staying.
Yeah, there was some chatter about wanting me to move to Detroit, and I could be in that same group with Minnesota and Chicago out in that area, and Green Bay out in that area. So I was like, yeah, don't get me wrong, love my Lions, but I gotta try and get something done. I gotta bring something positive to C-Town. So that's what I gotta do. So that's my.
I mean, if we expanded to 30 teams and they wanted to like resurrect the old NFC West and have Atlanta and the 49ers sharing a division like they used to back then, yeah, that'd be one thing, but our league isn't structured that way. If that were the case, then yeah, we could make that move and Dallas could be added to the league and someone else could take over Dallas.
Right. But no, I don't think that that's going to I didn't see that going to happen or foresee it happening. So, but it's definitely going to be some new interesting colors out there. I got to admit, it's going to be interesting to see Houston out there because haven't seen Houston, the Love You Blue out there for so long. So, all the other teams that are out there, you pretty much see on a regular basis in the real NFL, but haven't seen Houston in that Love You Blue. So that's going to be kind of interesting. So,
hey, and it's a dome stadium, so I don't have to worry about wind blowing my kids.
Yeah, it's a dome. Yeah, but that Astrodome roof is falling in on that Astrodome. I can tell you because back in my younger days when I lived out there, yeah, it's that roof is sagging, so you're gonna do some maintenance on that building.
Is this going to be like the Houston team during the years in which Jerry Glanville was coaching them?
Yeah. Well, he can't bring back.
He only made the wild card, so I hope to do more than just wild card.
He's trying to bring the Bum Phillips era back with Earl Campbell, Billy White Shoes Johnson.
I already bought me a new blue cowboy hat. So
there you go. Next topic that we're going to discuss right now. Again, we've already gone through the portion where we had to do our player cuts. I know that there was some chatter on the forum about inquiring were they going to, was the commission going to bring some of these players back? And just to reiterate for you guys, as Rich pretty much said, that once those players you guys cut, once that button was pushed, those players are gone. I do believe. Correct me on this. He didn't say he was bringing any of those players back, right? Or he said that when they were gone, they're gone, right?
I believe he's not bringing any of them back.
Yeah. So I know that there were some people complaining about that, or not really complaining, but just having something to say about that. But I think he pretty much was, he was definitely firm on that those guys are not returning. They are going off into the sunset, getting their checks, and moving on. So,
I think that's just fantastic. And I wish there was. I mean, I don't. James, he reminded me that I don't think there's a way to auto retire players. I wish there was, because I mean, just in the wide receiver category alone, I'm sitting here tinkering with my master algorithm spreadsheet of players, and I mean, we've got, my goodness, I can't even count them all here, but 52 players in the wide receiver pool that are 51 that are 10 plus years of age, that in potentials out of 364 players, they basically would be the bottom 53 players. So, I mean, there's no way in the world these players will get picked up by any team, even with injuries, because there are, nearly 300 other wide receivers, and a chunk of those are free agents. I mean, these guys just need to be erased from the pool in the game, not clogging it up. But we can't. Obviously, I don't think there's a way to do it. But yeah, there's there's a lot of clutter in the free agent pool right now that just is no way it's ever going to get picked up. So hurrah to Rich for getting as many of these players retired as he can.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a flaw in the game, that there's no way to like dump free agents out of the league files that have no chance of going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, this one particular player, Neil Sterling. He's in the free agent pool. He's a 16-year.
Oh my
player.
goodness!
He has speed of 66. Acceleration of 73. I mean, he couldn't even be a coach on the team.
Oh, that's a slot receiver. He's a slot receiver.
Oh my gosh! Our linemen are faster than this guy. But the thing is, he's the only one. I mean, there's like the bottom 3 wide receivers have speed under 70. The minimum for a wide receiver in our league is supposed to be 70.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are still hanging on.
They're waiting for that team. They're waiting for that call. That team's going to call them.
Yeah. Waiting on Detroit to give them a ring.
There you go. Someone's going to call them.
Well, the game ages them every season, but it doesn't dump them.
No. I mean, we'll have guys like this still sitting in the free agent pool, but yet I think it tried to retire one of my players that was under 10 years in the league.
The only way to get rid of them is to put them on open slots on a team, and then at that age they'll definitely retire. But
well, I mean, that's what Rich has been doing. If you look, you'll see that there are guys that supposedly retired from your team that weren't on your roster because Rich is trying to put some of these guys, on there. But dadgum, man, there's so many of these old free agents.
It's a flaw in the game. Above a certain age, they should retire out of the free agent pool, just like they would retire out of the team.
Yeah, and I think you would think that. Yeah, some of these jokers, man, we could start the UFL with some of these guys.
There you go.
I mean, my goodness, we've got right now, what is this? 40 free agent fullbacks, for crying out loud. And of those 40 free agent fullbacks, 9, 10, 11 of them are 10-plus years in age. I guarantee you those jokers aren't going to get picked.
No, they're not going to get picked. He just needs to start pruning.
Yeah. I mean, we got Dakota Gordon, for crying out loud, is a free agent in our fullback pool. Anyway.
Okay.
Enough of that. What's the next topic, Mark?
All right. So, let's see. We have that. The next one, I know that for some of we have our new coaches, and I know that some of the longtime coaches, I know I had a conversation a couple of weeks back, and some people, even though we don't do it all the time, or we only do it once a year, sometimes you kind of get draw a blank off of it, just like I just did. So this week we have to get the players have to get their physicals done. So we need to move, where you want to put roles out on your players. You can actually transfer roles from one player to another. So I think I want to have both of you guys chat a little bit about that. I think I'll start this one off with Dean and kind of give a little history of the physicals and transferring and get both of you guys' philosophy on that. So, Dean, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, under the old system, you used to do the roles when they retired, and then you do the roles to unretire them. So this new system kind of keeps that feature, but the new system, those green players are all protected, means they've automatically passed. The yellow players will undergo their physicals. And when you look over that list of yellow players on your own team, if there are players there that are much more valuable and you want to increase their chances of passing so that they play 2 more years, you transfer a role from someone that maybe is a backup or is lower priority, or you may even have a player on there that maybe is barely good enough to make your roster, is not really worth it. So you transfer a role from that player. Means that you transfer a role from a player, that player fails their physical, but they still play one more season with you. They'll be red after Rich runs the physicals, and they'll play this coming season, and then they'll retire or they'll deteriorate in ratings so that you'll let them go anyway. But generally, you cut them at the end of the season and they retire. So transferring of roles is optional. You don't have to do it, but if you want to increase the odds that one of your better players passes, which means they'll play with you at least 2 more seasons, you would transfer roles to them. But that's an optional thing. And you may have noticed that several teams have already posted their transfers of roles on the forum.
All right. So, Mitch, since Dean's given the history, let's talk about the strategies for it. What, in a generic overview, what are some of the attributes you think that coaches should be looking for when determining if they want to move over, as far as how players rate overall within the league? Just some generic philosophies.
A couple of things I think that, again, this is just a few rules of thumb that I'll look at. One, are any of the players still signed or are they unsigned? Because, if I've got a player that's still signed for 3 years, if they're a better player, which they probably would be, all right, I'm probably going to look to try to, increase my chances to keep them. So I'll probably try to find someone to trade a role to for that. If I look at positions such as kicker, punter, fullback, maybe even tight end, as ones that I would probably prioritize as using as my traded roles, if that makes sense. So, if I got a fullback that like I did last year, he was number 1 rated fullback in the league, but he wasn't under contract anymore, and he was role eligible or physical eligible. So I was like, well, you know what? Best fullback in the league is still very much replaceable. So I traded his roles to, I guess it was 2 seasons ago, because he ended up he retired after this past season. So I would look at those positions that maybe aren't as impactful to trade roles to, because you can pick up a replacement for them pretty cheap, or in the draft or in the free agent pool. Another thing to look at, if you have multiple players at the same position, I think depending on your situation, you have to prioritize. All right, do I want to keep 2 older players? And if you can, okay, fine. But if you don't have the opportunity to trade roles, maybe to ensure you're going to keep both, then you prioritize one or the other based on some things I've already said. Is one maybe slightly younger than the other? Is one under contract? Is one, your starting, player at a position versus the other one being your 4th string at a position? Prioritizing out who you want to keep. So those are just that's not everything, but those are just a few rules of thumb that I look at when I'm trying to make those decisions out there. But as Dean said, if you don't even want to put all that much thought into it, you can just let it roll, and Rich will take care of it, because the percentage of success is in the website. And so if it's a person that's maybe their 1st or 2nd year eligible for physicals, there's a strong chance for them to pass. The higher the age or experience, obviously that percentage of success goes down. So anyway, that's all I'll add.
And then when you're talking about looking at the overall, you're looking at all the players in the different positions, guard, center, tackle. How does that guy rank amongst the guys in the league, and make that determination? Should I keep him, or no? Should I just let him go? Just let him go off into the sunset.
Someone that we were talking about earlier. If they're the number, top 3 person at their position in the league, unless it's a fullback, tight end, kicker, or punter, yeah, you know what? I might try to find a way to keep that person. So, but if I'm talking about someone who's my fifth string guard and they're a 11-year player and yeah, I can just trade that role with somebody else because I can pretty easily go out and find somebody to replace my fifth string guard. I tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. So, one last check around the table. You got anything you want to add to that, Dean?
No, that's pretty much it. I think the way the roles are figured out when we used to do the old system, people used to pretty much pick the same numbers to roll, the ones that were more likely to come up in the dice. So now those are like kind of the defaults when you look at the way that's set up. So,
okay. So
when you roll two dice, things like I think 6, 7, and 8 are the numbers that come up more often. So those are more oftenly chosen by team owners that were posting their roles to unretired players under the old system.
Right. Okay. So also another thing that was going on today, we mentioned at the start of the show, which is kind of fun. I think it kind of adds a little element to the game as well. Is quite a bit of trash talking going on today, and I'll admit that I was one of the individuals jumping in there, throwing some stuff around, and there were some shots that was being taken towards me by one team that is left one city, left the Motor City, and is going to the city of brotherly love, but staying in the same division. So there was some little fun chatter and banter going on. I think at one point there were some people talking about, hey man, I got to go to a meeting at work. So there was a lot of trash talking going on at work today. I know I reached out to one of the coaches today, and who happens to be on the show with me. He said, hey, you need to pull that What's Up app. And there's been some trash going on. And so any comments on that, you guys? I'm sure, I know that Mitch saw some. I don't know if you got to see any of it, Dean, but yeah, there was some trash talk going around this morning.
Well, you couldn't help but miss it when I got a note from I was like, okay, what's he talking about? So I go out to the WhatsApp and there's like 100 messages, and I'm like, I think I was probably trying to go into a location or in between or something. And I'm just kind of looking at stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and happened to come across a few comments about you on my schedule or not on my schedule, and people, giving you some crap about that. So I wanted to let people know that you're not really serious about that. You don't want my smoke.
Oh yeah, so, yeah, bring it on. And I'm still waiting, and I am still waiting for that thank you note from somebody, because I allowed them to, my sweep of a team allowed them to get into the playoffs, even though they were there for all of an eye blink. I think I should still deserve a thank you note for doing some of his dirty work for him. But next time I do some dirty work for somebody, you need to kind of represent a little bit.
Well, maybe this season start a little earlier, and that dirty work can help you get to the playoffs. That is on my to-do list. So I said, they can talk some trash. They've been talking some trash, and don't worry, we took notice of it, and we have some of that information on our on the bulletin board right now. Even though the guys are still in their off season and that type of stuff, but when they come in, they'll see some of the notes and stuff that was going around. So, yeah. Well, but of course, now you do have to re-sign like half your team. So
yeah, I got to re-sign. Yeah, we have some work to do. But that's okay. We ended up going a little bit strong, even though somebody was up there saying, yeah, that's their normal MO, and then try to pull a little chart up of how we go up and how we go down. But like I said, we're in the kitchen. We're baking some cakes. So we're definitely baking some cakes.
Better resign a quarterback. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the trash talk came from someone who just barely made the playoffs and then immediately backed out of the playoffs. And when you lose in the first round of the playoffs, it's the same thing. It means week 18 you're playing golf with the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or what does they say now? You're in Cancun or whatever.
Yeah, out in Cancun.
yeah, you're going to Cancun with Ted Cruz.
There you go. Right. There you go. It was definitely fun throwing some trash around there today. So that was pretty fun. So,
well, it should be interesting. You have the WhatsApp for the full regular season now versus the last few weeks. Now we have more people on. Some of y'all get that worked up. Before we even get to the draft, it should be interesting when the season actually starts.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I just see what Steve posted. He says, "Don't motivate them. You want Dean focused on rebuilding his roster and making plays. If he focuses on his game plans, he's actually dangerous."
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I think I've said that before too, or something like that.
Yeah, so like I said, there was some trash talking out there. So definitely we got to do something in between the season. So we hurry up and get this stuff going, and we can get back to the games and get some stuff going. So
well, that's why we set this thing up, because we were before doing a lot of this in email, and Charlie was getting frustrated with his inbox being filled with 50 email messages in a day. So you get your 50 messages here instead.
There you go. And actually, it's much easier to respond. So, because again, I'd fire something off and then I'd get a ding or get a buzz. I'd take a look and I'd fire back, and we were going back and forth. And it's like, yeah, I think I need to go to work now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So as we are coming up to almost the 30-minute mark, obviously we didn't have that really much going on during this off season. So we're going to condense this down a little bit. But I think we hit on some major topics and some interesting topic, and had a little bit of fun here. So also, you guys got to keep in mind, remember that we got to get the physicals turned in. I do believe the deadline is Sunday.
Yeah.
I did want to make a couple comments about designing plays in the off season.
Okay. Or did you want to say that one for next week, and we can go in much deeper on that? You want to go into that?
We can cover that next week.
All right. So we'll cover that next week. Also, working on having the third member or our silent member on the show next week, and he's been handling all the video duties for the highlights, and definitely want to thank him and get him involved in that as well. And that's Steve Corbett. So he will be on the show with us next week, so it should be very, very interesting.
Yes, so Dean can ask Steve about those comments live next week.
There you go. So he can get into keep that trash talking going a little bit more. So
that's right.
All right. So as we come
this thing into a cable news show next week.
There you go. So as we come to wrap this up, we're going to take it around the table one more time. Any final words that you have over there, Dean?
No, just for those who want to do so, get your roles, your transfers in, or not get them in if you don't need to do them. And I believe is Rich running those this coming weekend? So we'll find out.
Yep, they're due Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So that's just a matter of rolling the dice, I guess. They won't take that long for him to run it, and then once we find out Sunday, then we go on to the next step, is we have to decide which of our players get signed or have tags on them, and then the ones that we're not going to tag or sign get released to free agency. Then free agency can open, and the draft follows shortly after that.
Yep.
But I think trading also opens after the physical.
Yeah, once
it does.
Trading opens as well, because all the players that have been signed can be traded, and some of them are already the subject of agreed upon trades.
Yep.
So those trades can be posted and will be.
Okay. All right. Mitch, any final words before you take us home?
Just get your cuts in. Cuts. Oh my gosh. Your
transfers, your rolls.
Changes. Yeah, transfers in by Sunday, and that way we can do what we like to do. Let's get it.